Jesus said, "The hour has come." That's how we started this gospel. The hour has come. So then he says, if you're going to follow me, you're going to have to know how to face the hour. So watch, learn. I'll show you how to do it. All of us face an hour, the hour. It is the thing that we wish we could avoid, but we know we have to do. And we know that later on this night, Jesus spent a hellish night preparing for the cross, terrified of what was ahead. But in doing that, and in what he did before and after that, he showed us how to face the hour. Our beloved former mayor died last month, Henry Rausch. He was a wonderful guy and had a brave face, so people might not have known that he was actually sick for 8 years. This past year, though, was the hardest. And not too long ago, his doctor told him that the time had come that he needed 2 blood transfusions a week just to stay where he was, not to get better, just not to lose any more ground. And that was when he told his wife, "It's enough." That was the hour. He said, "Nope, doctor, I won't be getting those blood transfusions." And the doctor said, "Why? We can provide that for you." But he said, "No, those aren't my values." He felt that it wasn't right to use that much blood when there were so many people in need of it. So he knew it was the hour. And his wife called hospice later that day. The hour is like that. It's kind of like fruit that has gotten ripe, or vegetables that are ripe in the garden. You don't get to decide when that happens. In fact, it's sometimes very inconvenient. How many people have had all the zucchini wind up becoming ripe during a really busy week at work, and then they're begging everybody, "Can you take a bag of zucchini? Can anybody take my tomatoes? I don't know what to do with all this." I learned when I was a kid, when pears are ripe on the tree, you have to go get them. You can't say, "Oh, not this week, I'll go next week," because next week they'll be on the ground and there will be a whole army of hornets around them. Well, that's exactly how our hour is. We don't get to choose when to face it. It chooses us. And no one could blame us if we want to put it off. Who could blame Jesus if he had tried to figure out how to put this off? Who could blame him if he said, maybe if I tone down my message a little bit, maybe if I make nice with these authorities that are getting so angry with me, maybe if I try to soften the truth so that it's not so threatening to people. But he didn't do that. Just like Henry Rausch, he said, "This is the hour, and I'm going to face it. My time has come." All of us have an hour at some point in our life. Have you faced the hour before? I know a lot of you have. It could come in so many forms. I think of the pregnancy test that comes back positive and changes everything. I think about the spouse of an alcoholic who one day says, "I've been staying together with my spouse for the children, but I realize now this is killing us. I have to go." I think about the gay teenager who realizes that he or she has to talk to their parents. The one who says, "I thought I could just keep this private, but it's killing me. I have to tell my family." Jesus shows us that we need courage if we're going to face any of these things. But what we just experienced shows us that courage alone is not enough. There's a woman in our parish who's here tonight whose son was diagnosed with ALS in his 40s, Lou Gehrig's disease, that disease that we're all so afraid of. Because he was getting weaker and weaker, he had to move in with his mother, and she took care of him and watched as he got weaker and weaker. She knew the hour was coming. One day, when they were sitting down to the table to have lunch, he said, "Mom, I don't know how to say this, but you're going to have to feed me. I can't do it." And she looked at him and she said, "That's nothing, Jeff. That's nothing. For a mother, for someone you love, feeding is nothing. Feeding the one you love is a joy." She learned what to do when the hour comes. She learned that it wasn't just courage, although she had to have so much of that. But the thing you do when the hour comes is you fill those final moments with love. You cram them with love. You make them so filled with love, it can be almost impossible to notice how much pain is there too. Can you imagine the love present in a room where a mother is feeding her son? Holy Thursday shows us that what we need to face the hour is courage and love. And since we've been invited to imagine the love that filled that upper room when the God of all creation washed the feet of those disciples, we can imagine what it's like for a mother to have to feed her dying adult son. And we can imagine what comes next. In this very celebration, in a few moments, we are going to call out and we're going to say, "God, we don't know how to say this, but you're going to have to feed us." And God will say, as God has for 2,000 years, "My children, that's nothing. That's nothing. That was part of the plan all along. To feed someone you love, that's nothing. It's a joy." So let us go forward on this Holy Thursday into the rest of our lives, facing the hour with courage and with love.